What's going on, everybody?
What's up, people?
Welcome to Let the Madness Begin, LTMB Live with Will Gaillard
and Mike White.
What's up, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm just wondering what's up with you, man. You back from the pits of sickness?
Yeah, man.
You was knocking on death's door.
Yeah, I'm back from the shallow graves. It's been rough, man. It's been rough. Been sick. Family's been sick, man.
It's like that M stands for mucus now. Let the mucus begin.
Yo, this one was rough, man. Yesterday I was feeling bad, real bad, but I feel significantly better today. I'm still sick though. I feel woozy, but I was like, look, man, we got a show to do. If I can get through it and talk. I'm not gonna laugh though. See, you ain't gonna get me with the laughing. See, because if I start laughing, we're gonna have to cut this short at like 20 minutes.
Yo,
straight up, I can do that, but then that's it.
Ain't like I be planning that junk though, man. You know what I'm saying?
Like that deep haha. I can't do that. I can't do that today. I can't do that today. No, that's gonna make me like I have to roll over and just it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But appreciate everybody. Sending me well wishes, the private messages people sent me to, wish me health. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm back. What's up, Mary? Nothing as it seems. Nala, what's up? You know what? Let's bring Facebook in. Let's see. I'm woozy as a mug, man. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. There we go. There we go. All right, Facebook is in the house.
What's up, Facebook?
What's going on, everybody?
Still nobody in the room yet, so we just gonna kind of float. We're just gonna float on these waves.
What's up, Angie?
We're gonna float on these waves until people show up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Working my way back from the sickness, so I'm looking forward to the weekend so I can get fully healthy.
Oh, for real, man. That'll help out.
I thought the kids were doing good, man, but then today, miserable, man.
See, that's how sometimes sickness is though. Like sometimes it's like a roller coaster. It's like you kind of get better and then you know what I'm saying, your body loses energy and it kind of like goes back. It's like 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's just like that. But yeah. What's up, Laurel on Facebook?
How's everybody doing on Facebook?
Will is back from injured reserve. Had a torn Achilles.
Yeah, man. He's on the disabled list for
just
a game, just one game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Sprained knee, sprained Achilles.
I'm okay now. I'm all right. Like I said, I'm not gonna let this joker right here get me to the deep laughing though.
Yo,
because then you're gonna bring me back on the DL.
Yo, I can't help that, dude.
It's like a sprained ankle that just keeps rolling.
Oh.
Nah,
that's funny.
Not gonna do it, man. Not gonna do it, man.
But since Angie is in the house, I see you. I did read that article that you were talking about, or that you kind of tagged me in, and it was tight. It was tight. It kind of got me to see, like, I guess maybe the narrow framework some of our icons are viewed in. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes they're given superhero status, and kind of like, I guess the anxiety they go through as it comes to their work as an activist kind of doesn't ever or rarely gets looked at, like the kind of deliberation they have to go through and how to go forth with their activism as it has to do with their own personal well-being, their own family's well-being. Like a lot of that stuff kind of gets pushed under the rug a little bit because we have to, like, I guess we worry about the iconography so much and we have to create a superhero out of them, and we forget that they're not superheroes. They're human beings like us. And so it kind of puts it in perspective of how strong they actually have to be to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even imagine getting death threats from the FBI. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even imagine that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even be sure if I can go forth with my activism if that was the case, in my family's safety. You know what I'm saying? The agony of all that, and the agony of knowing that your popularity is going to be lost because you going to speak out against the Vietnam War, stuff like that. I just kind of wish more of their human side was covered, and that's kind of what the article that Angie shared with me was kind of dealing with.
Dog, you just stepped into some junk like nobody knows what you're talking about, though. Like, I mean, the article that you just set it up,
dog. Oh, because I forgot the name of the article. It was an article. It was a Martin Luther King article.
All right, it was. You got to give a background. I don't know if people know what you're talking about.
It was because this was more like a personal thing. So, but since everybody else watching, it was just like an article that she shared with me. She's in the chat right now, Angie. She shared an article about Martin Luther King. It was just like highlighting how kind of people like kind of use his message and kind of spread it about in ways that don't really acknowledge what kind of person he was, what kind of human he was. You know what I'm saying? And but it kind of touched on some of like the way his message is exploited by both liberals and conservative as well, but the typical stuff. But it more or less focused on him as a human being. And I think it culminated with kind of maybe the reason why we do that is we kind of like with these icons is maybe it gets us away from maybe thinking that we can do that same work, because once we put them up there it makes it like they were the ones that's supposed to handle it and we can't kind of move forward with the same kind of work because they were superheroes. I'm not a superhero kind of, you know, thing. But I wish I remember the name of the article. But yeah, it was a good article. I think Angie shared it on her Facebook page. But yeah.
All right, we're gonna get into this. The first, I guess, like the first thing we're gonna talk about is Mike talked about it on the last show, and it was actually the post that I had put out there. Was it yesterday? No, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. I put a post out on Tuesday, and it created some discussion. A lot of people commented. Most people understood what I was saying, but there were a certain number of people that didn't get the message. Whether that was purposeful or not, it just seemed like they just kind of just whooshed right past them. So, like I said, you read it. You read the comment that I put out there on Facebook, but
Yeah.
I put it out. You know, we have the actual screen capture of it, so I'll put it out there and then we'll read it again and then we'll talk about it and see how people kind of mistook it. So I said, many progressives who claim to want progress continue to go after irrelevant in 2018 Hillary Clinton, who is not the president, but failed to criticize President Trump while oftentimes showing support for his administration. These people are as phony as they come. They assert their contempt for establishment politics, but somehow end up only attacking the Democratic Party, as if the Republican Party is not similarly corrupt. These progressives are the same individuals that claimed to be woke during the Bernie Sanders 2016 candidacy, but now have the same blinders on that they accuse Hillary Clinton followers for using. Ironic and detestable. They are not allies in the fight for true representation, equality, and justice. They are obstructionists. So,
what were you not saying? I think what you need to first. I think it's since you already put out there what you were saying.
Right. I put out there
I think it's
saying.
based off the response. It seems as if you have to start off with what you're not saying, which is the problem. So what are you not saying?
There was a lot of things that I was not saying. Okay. So first of all, like just the second word in progressives, it's encased with quotation marks. Progressives, progressives. So that means I'm not actually really talking about progressives. I'm talking about people that claim that they are progressives. I've referred to them as fake ass progressives sometimes. Should I have said that? I mean, I think everybody knows what the quotation
means. Yeah, quotes means so called.
Exactly.
Or yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I wasn't talking about actual progressives, right? So
people who are playing the role of progressives and they may not be. Maybe some people who are conservatives who are like, you know what I'm saying, who are undercover,
right.
Or maybe they don't know they're conservative. And they're just because of maybe there's maybe some negativity that comes with the label that they do have, or their constituency. Maybe they figure they'd kind of maneuver over,
right.
But they still have some of the same tendencies. But
also, all right, so you go down a little bit. This is the same first sentence, and I refer to Hillary Clinton as the irrelevant in 2018 Hillary Clinton. So that's pretty much where everybody lost their shit. Not everybody. Like I said, most people understood what I was saying. But because of that, because I didn't refer to Hillary Clinton as numero uno evil, the number one.
Yes.
The number one evil.
Not only the evil, the seed from which all evil spawns.
Exactly. I didn't refer to her as that, so that means that now I am an establishment sellout. That I am doing the bidding for the Democratic Party, the establishment.
Bruh.
I'm a DNC bootlicker.
No, sellout. That suggests that you are benefiting in some way. Hence the word sell.
Yeah.
You sold yourself for what? So what did he say? Where the money
setup.
at, dog?
I'm saying we're in the same setup that we've been in.
Yo, dog, you've been holding some money back, dog.
You know? I'm like, okay, so then some people were saying, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the people that pushed back on that was saying that how could you say Hillary Clinton was irrelevant and people want to see her prosecuted for her crimes and this and that. Look, if you want to pay attention to Hillary Clinton in 2018, go ahead, do it. But the problem is that there are some people, and it's a significant segment of people that are saying this is where my focus lies. I'm not going to be bothered with what the Trump administration is doing, Republicans. My focus is on Hillary Clinton
only. And there's some popular journalists out there. Not going to name them right now. We may get into that maybe at a later date. Who have said explicitly that they don't care what Trump does.
And see, that's what brought this up, because we had talked about that. We had talked about that in a prior show. And so that article, coupled with the fact that we see this on social media too, people that consider themselves progressives, they say that they don't really care about what Trump is doing, and they kind of support his agenda.
So you don't care? They don't care about Trump at all. They don't care about his administration. They don't care about anybody in his cabinet. They don't care about what the current administration is doing. Like the current administration that to me is the establishment right now.
Right.
They are at the head of this nation right now.
But see,
they have the power right now.
But okay, so that's where some of the backlash kicks in. So, some of the backlash, okay? So the backlash that I saw, because I commented back on all this backlash, and some people were saying, well, Hillary Clinton, you don't have to be in power. You don't have to have a position to be in power. So what's actually happening is that Hillary Clinton, like, I guess she's the head of the snake. She is in the deep state. She is the deep state. So she's actually ordering Trump to do what he's doing.
Do you know
he's taking orders from Hillary Clinton?
That creates a logical shit circle, right?
It does.
Because you would still have to then criticize the state anyway, because she's still in control of the state, even if she's doing it behind the scenes. You would still have to criticize the personnel that she's ordering. And that also suggests that Trump is a part of it too. If Trump is being ordered around, if that's what people say. But again,
I guess he's an unwilling patsy.
But
unwilling participant.
But why has that kind of idea come about? That idea has come about because Hillary didn't win. I think even Hillary Clinton's detractors and those who were against her, not including us, not even like I'm talking about people who have never been Democrats. I think they were expecting her to win. They were expecting her to win. So what happens is during the primaries, she's enemy number one, rightfully so. During the election, she's enemy number one, rightfully so. I'm fine with that. It's during an election. But she is not the enemy now. She's not the only enemy. She didn't win. So how does she still remain enemy number one? That's the thing. I think what happens is people kind of found their enemy and they wanted to stick with it. And the fact that that enemy didn't win posed a problem, because if that enemy did win, you would have more of a platform to continue to criticize the enemy. But what has happened is people have lost their enemy to criticize, but they want to create a new scenario, so then that criticism still seems legitimate. The way they do that is to say, well, even though she didn't win, and even though she is not in a position to create choose cabinet members and create an administration and choose U.S. attorneys and federal judges and all that stuff. She still has power because she's part of the deep state. So now you have to create another layer because the enemy lost. I think some people actually wanted the enemy to win.
And see, and we've talked about this too. Like, you called it like a shit circle right here.
Logical shit circle.
Logic. But if she is in the deep state, she's the head of the snake. That means that the deep state is oh so powerful that they are actually commanding Donald Trump to do exactly what he's doing. But they were also so weak that they didn't even get Hillary Clinton into office.
Thank you. I think like that to me like speaks to the absurdity of it all, because you're like, wait a second, these mugs are the ultimate power force as far as like this kind of, I guess, shadow force, shadow army that dictates everything from surveillance, from proxy wars to banking to everything, to Federal Reserve, all these things. But they're so powerful, but they couldn't get their puppet in. They couldn't get
absolutely ridiculous
Hillary Clinton in. They're just so powerful, but they couldn't win. Come on,
that makes no sense. So, like I said, that's what most of the negative feedback was, and most of it was laughable. Like I said, the things people were saying that I'm a sellout now and things. There was one guy though that he should probably get a throat punch straight up, like
chop.
Yeah, just no, I throat punch.
Oh, you want punch?
Yeah, just right in the throat. Yeah, because he brought up how we took a break early in 2017 because okay, so we recorded all throughout 2016, from January to December, and we took a break up until August of 2017.
Now that's just a break where we're on camera.
Yeah,
we were still
they were still posting
stuff
to the page. Yeah, but on camera, we took a break. Now that was for various reasons, right? And a lot of it had to do with my personal life, right? But this dude is saying that because of that break, like that somehow is representative of us being in the establishment.
Jay, dog.
Jay said you gotta take a break.
Jay, you already heard your boy say he can't laugh because he's sick.
I can't laugh, man. Stop. True that, man. I can't laugh. So I'm not even reading that, man. But this dude said we only come around during campaign season. We're always, like, I'm always a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat first. I'm a vote blue no matter who. I'm like, okay, hold on, man. Like, you're just throwing out things that, I mean, like, they have, you have no reference point here. Like, we come around during campaign season only. Was it campaign season in August 2017?
No.
August 2017?
No.
It wasn't.
Also, here's the thing. If you actually want to go back in time and, like, I guess, prosecute and indict Hillary Clinton or want her to be indicted for things that she did in the past, I'm actually perfectly okay with that.
Yes.
I'm perfectly fine with that. But if you're doing that without indicting, like, people who do the same thing, or you're just doing that and somehow nobody else is relevant, that's what I have a problem with. And I think during election season, kind of going back and digging up certain things about politicians, it makes sense. It's customary. It's routine. So that's cool. So she lost, right? We're not saying she has zero influence. It's not like a zero-sum game. And I think that's what people perceived about your post. Like, it's a zero-sum game. Like, you were saying she's completely irrelevant. She has no influence. The Democratic Party has no influence. But specifically, Hillary Clinton. You specifically targeted Hillary Clinton in this because people seem to cast her as, like,
the
numero
devil.
uno.
The devil.
Like, Diabla.
Yes.
Like, and right now, she is not in a position of power to affect things.
Exactly. And we talked about how if she died tomorrow, would anything change?
Again,
no.
Again, I have no problem if you want to talk about the Democratic Party, and if you want to talk about Hillary Clinton or the Clintons specifically. If you want to, like I said, go back in time and maybe want to dig all that stuff up and hope that she is held accountable for crimes she committed, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you want to just ignore current crimes, that's disingenuous, and that's what we were talking about.
My problem was not that people want to focus on Hillary Clinton. My problem was that certain people only want to focus on Hillary Clinton. So if that's not you, some people were saying we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay, then don't get your feelings hurt because this wasn't about you. Like, if you're taking offense to this, then I mean that's saying a lot about you. But I feel like there's a certain number of people that they just love to cast people in a, like, they want to cast them as establishment shills. Like they're rushing, they're waiting to label somebody as an established. I got you. You're establishment sellout. You're a shill. And I remember, you know, a lot of people did that with Cenk Uygur, right? Now look, a lot of people don't like TYT. They think they're establishment sellouts, whatever. I can't remember the last time I saw a whole entire show, okay? But I see certain clips, and there are a lot of clips that I totally agree with. I don't think the dude is an establishment sellout. I don't think so, because I just haven't seen it. Maybe some people have more insight on that. I don't know, but I haven't seen it. What I saw in 2016 was that he supported Bernie Sanders, right? It seems like most of them supported Bernie Sanders. Then when Bernie Sanders did not get the Democratic nomination, he went to Hillary Clinton. That's when a lot of people started saying, you're establishment sellout, right? Now, think about how ridiculous that is. Jill Stein, who I voted for, who we did an ad for, okay? Jill Stein got about 1% of the vote. Now, I believe a lot of progressives voted in 2016. Who do you think most of them voted for?
Most of them, the numbers have already been, the data has already been shown that a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Hillary Clinton.
So, if that is true, then what are we saying here?
You're saying that all those people who voted for Bernie during the primaries, who then flipped to Hillary Clinton once the primaries were decided for Hillary Clinton, you have to now say all those people are
establishment sellouts.
You have to by virtue of how I guess they have been responding thus far.
Right. And see, look, we thought it was best to vote for Jill Stein for a number of reasons. Okay, but I'm not going to begrudge somebody, like, to the extent to take away their progressive card and saying that, like, oh, you voted for Hillary Clinton, you must be an establishment sellout. I'm not going to do that. And think about why we shouldn't do that. This progressive movement, if it was so large, if it was, like, so massive, then we would be getting exactly what we want. You know, like, we would have a lot of influence. It seems like we don't yet, though. It seems like we don't.
No, it seems like we don't. We don't.
We don't, right? So the people that we need on our side are the people that voted for Hillary Clinton. To call them establishment sellouts, how are we pulling them into the movement? How are we doing that?
Yeah, you know, I think what's happening is, like, people have to be careful to not conflate, like, people who are involved in the Democratic Party and people who are just involved in the democratic process. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because you have party members, you have party insiders, you have, you know, you have career Democrats, and then you have a constituency. I think people just kind of, like, blur the lines between the two. And I'm like, most of the people that get called sellouts, they really don't have anything to sell. They don't have anything, I guess, that they're benefiting from by moving over to that side. Most of the people who voted for Bernie Sanders when they went to Hillary Clinton, they really, what did they have to gain for that?
What would exactly, like, so if you disagree with my post, if you believe Hillary Clinton is numero uno evil, cool. But how does that make me, LTMB, establishment sellouts? Name one position that we have taken where we are, like, enthusiastically supportive of the Democratic Party, of an establishment politician.
So basically, we're just saying, like,
progressivism.
Where's our platform? What changed about our platform?
Yeah, what changed?
Like, how we cover things.
Like when we nothing. Like when we started recording back in 2017, right?
Did our platform change?
Did we change at all? Did we do something
The only thing that
different?
changed about our platform was that we were doing live shows and not post-production uploads. That's really the only thing that changed.
Ridiculous. Like I said, most people understood exactly what I was talking about, but there's some people that, like I said, they couldn't even read past the words Hillary Clinton, man.
I think that's what got them, Joe. It was like, you know, like that movie Manchurian Candidate, and you say a key phrase, and it's just like Raymond.
Yep.
That's what. As soon as they saw the word Hillary Clinton,
Hillary Clinton wasn't.
It was like
combined with evil, like #1 evil. So it's like, oh, those two things. What are you doing here? You're protecting Hillary Clinton and the Democrats.
Again, I think that, you know, there's a lot of people who have some, I guess, some feelings still. And I'm not saying like the feelings are illegitimate. There's some bitter people that still exist because of what happened in 2016. And so obviously all their attention is going to be, well, their attention has been devoted and directed at the DNC, the Democrats, and Hillary Clinton specifically. The problem is they haven't been able to get off that and to focus on something else too. Keyword two. Right. I'm not telling you have to completely get off of it, because we're not going to get completely off of it. When there's something relevant that's going to be we're going to talk about it.
Right.
But there's a whole host of other things that actually affect Americans day to day. That guess what? Hillary Clinton ain't got nothing to do with.
Exactly. Like, do you really think it's more important? Like, it's more important to talk about Hillary Clinton in 2018 than it is Donald Trump and his administration?
We have there's individuals that I actually looked up to and kind of still do, just a little bit, because I still see a glimmer of hope in their pupils. There's mugs out here who've been in this political game for God knows how long, longer than we have. Been writing articles, getting articles published on HuffPost and all types of media outlets, sharing articles about Hillary Clinton's corruption and her negligence from 2015, April of 2015. Sharing articles.
That's like almost 3 years ago.
That's almost 3 years ago.
What would be the point in sharing an article from almost 3 years ago? Like Hillary Clinton is running for office now.
The point is, once you exhaust all your resources, that you find some sort of, I guess, negative Hillary Clinton story, even if it's true. Once you exhaust all those resources, which they're not endless, you're going to have to go find some new ones. You're going to have to dredge up some new ones in order to keep this whole thing going. And like, so if that's what kind of you base your platform on, or that's kind of how your platform what it's turned into, you're going to kind of have to keep feeding that. And it's not, to me, it's not even just about the platform. It's about feeding that need to constantly put her in the forefront as being the most evil, which is dangerous and irresponsible.
And see, this is not us protecting Hillary Clinton. If you go back and look at 2016, on all our videos, we talked about Hillary Clinton and the Democrats a lot. We wanted to educate people about who she was, who she has been throughout her whole history as a politician, as somebody that has influenced politics. So that was very important in 2016. In 2018, to rehash that is doing what going forward? Why would we do that going forward?
Yeah, why are you?
When Trump is causing so much damage currently.
Yes, and in almost every single agencies again that Hillary Clinton has no power over. It's just very nonsensical and illogical, and like I said, it's dangerous and irresponsible, not just for journalists, but for citizens to engage in this type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? I just
look, like I said, the fallout from the political bomb cyclone continues to manifest itself, man.
And it manifests itself not just in like the constituencies, the people, but unfortunately it's manifested itself in so-called journalists.
Yep. Again, if we actually want to expand this progressive movement, if we actually want to pull people in and help us on this fight for justice, for equality, for true representation, if we actually want those things, we can't be calling other people sellouts. We just can't do that. We can't, like, that's not going to get them on our side. Like, these are the same people that want the same things that we do, but they feel like the Democratic Party is the way you go about doing those things. To call them a sellout, like I said, like, how do we actually go towards progress by calling these people sellouts?
Especially, well, I think it's
on
like
issues they believe the same way as we do.
For, you know, just for clarification, I think like I guess as a qualifier, it's sellouts for something very small.
Yeah.
Like specifically calling someone a sellout for something very insignificant and small. And calling someone a sellout when they actually have no connection to the Democratic power base, Democratic insiders, Democratic career politicians, when they have no connection to that,
no incentive
at all. I do think sometimes it's an act of purity. It's an act of purity. You know what I'm saying? It
is an act of purity, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I would love somebody to point to just one specific example where we supported the Democratic Party, man. Like we supported an establishment position. Like, because damn, where is that money? Where is that money, man? Because if I'm gonna sell out, if I'm a sellout, this is gonna look a lot different. This is gonna look a lot different, man. I'm gonna have to get paid for that.
Yeah, you know, again, this is not about like giving the Democratic Party a pass or giving Hillary Clinton a pass.
No passes
this is more
are extended
about
by LTMB.
Like how we engage our fellow citizens, how we engage like individuals that may not be as, you know, pure, you know, may not be as knowledgeable. Like, how are you engaging these people? You know what I'm saying? It just feels like people are just all on the, like you said, they're in attack mode, just waiting to call people, you know, sellout.
And again, this movement is not big enough for us to be purist. The people that voted for Hillary Clinton that are actually progressives, you can't call them sellouts. You can't distance them. You can't distance yourself from them in that way, because we need those people on our side. They aren't sellouts.
They may just be uninformed. They may just be slow to wake up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because at one point, I'm pretty sure many of us were not as woke.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, man.
Because we could go
forever.
And we did. Just a few nights ago, we did. Anyway, all right. So let's go quickly to Aziz Ansari. Okay, so Aziz Ansari is an actor. He's a star of the Netflix show Master of None. I know him from the NBC show Parks and Recreation. Used to watch that all the time, man. It was a great show. But he has been accused of sexual misconduct, sexual assault.
I think it's more like it's kind of been, I guess, pleaded down. I know I'm making it sound like charges, but it's been pleaded down to like extreme sexual coercion.
Okay. Inappropriate behavior.
Sexual
behavior.
Yeah.
So
like that.
If you haven't heard the story, or if you haven't read the woman's account, she's going by the name Grace. That's not her real name, but this was posted on babe.net. Never heard of that publication or that website before, but it was posted on this website. And the story goes that they met somewhere and exchanged numbers, got together, went out for dinner, went back to his place, and that's when he started, soon after they got back to his place, that's when he started trying to have sex with her. I think he put her on the counter, or she sat on the counter, and he put his hand on her breast. Clothes came off. Both of their clothes came off. He was undressing her. He undressed himself. And then he said that he was going to get a condom. And then at that point, she said that she said something like let's relax, let's chill for a second, like, you know, this is going a little too fast right now, something like that. Then at that point they started kissing again, and then he performed oral sex on her, she performed oral sex on him. This whole, I guess this time frame was about 10 minutes. She said it wasn't that long that it happened, like the oral sex. So then after that, there was a lot of him just aggressively trying to get sex from her, I guess. Like she said that there were several times that he was like moving her hand towards his penis. He got behind her at some point, but they didn't ultimately have sex though. She went into the bathroom at one point, came back. They sat on the couch to chill.
Yeah, there was a situation where she wanted to slow down, and he actually suggested that they put their clothes back on.
No, okay, so that's after. That's after. Yeah. So they went and sat on the couch. They were still naked, and they were supposed to be chilling or something like that. And then I think he was like rubbing her shoulders or something like that. And then she turned around, or he turned, or something like that, where they were facing each other. And he motioned towards his penis, and she gave him oral sex again. So then after that, there was more, I think they got up. He bent her over. And then at that point, that's when she said, okay, no, I don't want this. I don't want to have sex. So then at that point, he was like, okay, you know what? Let's go back. Let's chill on the couch. But let's do this with our clothes on this time. So then after that, they put their clothes on, got on the couch. He still tried to go after her. And then it was at that point she was like, okay, you know what, I need to get up out of here. He got her she was gonna call a car, but he called for an Uber, and she got out of there. So then she at this point now she feels like she's been violated. So there's there's been a lot of discussion about this in the news, a lot of talk about this on social media. Was this actually an assault? Was this a violation? What was this?
I don't think. Here's the thing. I think it's important for whatever side you fall on not to be dismissive. All right, because I think maybe some people think the conversation should automatically go this way or that way, and I think that kind of leads us down a road where we don't listen to each other. Number one, simply because it was an assault, which I don't think it was, that doesn't mean that there's not a conversation that needs to be had. Okay, simply because it was an assault, and I don't think it was, that doesn't mean there's not a conversation to be had. Now, if that's the case, I think we need to discuss it like it's not an assault, and to discuss kind of the minutia of it, like not the details of it, but I guess how we approach sex, not just as males, but as females. So if we're going to talk about it like that, people don't need to talk about it like it's assault. When you use assault language, all you're going to do is just shut it down. Again, I don't think it's assault, but I do think there's a conversation that needs to be had. And I think maybe the problem is, like, there's this idea that there's just one way of pursuing sex. And some are aggressive, some are passive, while others are in the middle. And there's kind of this kind of secondary issue with sex as it concerns women and how they feel about their sexuality, and not wanting to, caught in like a limbo between not wanting to seem like they're too fast and then not wanting to seem prudish. Right? Now, I think a lot of males already know this. And with that being said, we already know that, there's going to be instances where there are going to be women that don't want to show that they're too eager for the sake of not looking like a whore, or not being called a whore or a slut. Well, at the same time, they don't want to look like they're prudish because they may want sex too. That's that passivity. Well, again, I think most males are aware of this. So what is going to happen is, when there's a request, an attempt to, I guess, get sex from a female, and since this is more focused on how he approached her, we'll just keep it male to female, since that's what this story is framed around. I think that when a male approaches it like that, it's an obvious kind of like illustration of, well, maybe, she might want it, but I don't know, so I'm going to go as far as I can to see if she actually wants it, which a lot of guys do. And if there's not an explicit no, and just kind of like some shyness, to a lot of guys, they don't see that as, well, she's uncomfortable. Maybe they see it as she's not trying to reveal that she wants sex right away, so she's trying to be a little standoffish. So I'm a push it to see how far I can go, just to see like if I can get the draws. You know what I'm saying?
This is where I am, because there were two moments in this encounter. If you take what she said as factual, there were two moments in this whole encounter that were very relevant. I mean, that were very important. One is where the clothes come off. Okay, it seems like there was no don't take my clothes off. I don't want my clothes to come off. The clothes came off. He undressed her. Didn't seem like she put up a fight about that. Then the other moment is that when she actually did say, no, I don't want to do this, it's not going to happen right now, the clothes came back on. And he was the one that suggested that the clothes come back on. So, was he aggressive? Yes. He was very aggressive, and he wanted to have sex with this woman. But it seems like at any point, she could have said, no, I don't want to do this. I'm not about to do this. We're not going to have sex. My clothes aren't coming off. I feel uncomfortable about this whole thing. We're not going to do this. And nothing would have happened. That's what it seems like to me. So it just like what you were saying, like sex doesn't start in one uniform way. Like people don't go about having sex in one way,
and people don't go seeking sex in that way either.
No, so like it a lot of times it happens organically. Like it's just like people start feeling each other, you know, maybe they get the, you know, they lock eyes, you know, they kiss or something like that. It's something that, you know, and one person is obviously probably going to be feeling it more than the other person, right?
Sometimes
so like,
that's the case, like even with
maybe they go at it a little bit harder than the other person. So but if you don't, in this case, like this is a first date, okay? How do you know like that other person's signs? Like how do you know like, okay, well, this person obviously does not want it. How do you know if like they're just not trying to be like, like you said, like they don't want to seem like they want to give it away easily, but maybe they will eventually, you know, have sex.
So they're a little bit more. So they offer some a little bit more like subtle invites.
Right.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean you're gonna go all the way. But right. You're offering subtle invites, so you don't seem like you just gonna like throw off all your clothes. To me, like, I just judging from her story, it doesn't seem like it was obvious points where she was showing interest. There were just even judging by her own story, there were points in which she was showing interest. So
yes,
so you see what I'm saying? And like so as she is retelling the story, sometimes I think you start to like retell it like based on how you want to frame it and not necessarily how you were in the moment, because you can tell that from the beginning, like from the jump, she wanted to frame it as if she didn't have a choice from the jump. And that's the thing that kind of threw me off. I'm like, look, I'm like, if you want to say like he was being overly aggressive and he was being like kind of like over the top with it, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If you want to say like, yo, this dude was aggressive, he like, you know, I was trying to move slow and he was trying to move fast.
Too fast for me.
Yeah.
Yo, that's cool.
Like, yeah, that's cool. But when you start from the jump to kind of like create this, to frame it around like you had no choices from the beginning, and if you read it, then you would know what I'm talking about with the wine. Like he ordered some white wine, and he was like
she wanted red wine, but she didn't have. She said like she didn't have a choice.
She didn't have a choice. Like you see what I'm saying? That just seems a bit weird to kind of go into that, because she's trying to establish that she almost had no ability to make any choices of her own or request anything for herself. And I think that to me was a bit disingenuous. That's
like
all.
If he's aggressive, if he's too aggressive for her, that, I mean, like, I understand that, but it's not a male, like a toxic male characteristic. There are some women that go after it really hard as well, so it's not just a male thing. So I don't see how this is part of the whole the Me Too campaign. I don't see how this is, you know, part of the you know, women telling their story and pushing back on like sexual predators and powerful
because this
men.
is not
I don't
specifically
believe
something that like affects women in general. Because
this happens all the time. And like I said, with this particular case, it wasn't like he was being physically restraining. It wasn't like he was keeping her there, keeping her unclothed or anything like that. At the moment she said no, this is not going to happen, the clothes came back on at his request. So I just, like I said, like if she felt like it went too far, then I understand that. But I mean, you have to acknowledge that you did let it get too far. You did let it get too far. Like you had the opportunity to say, no, I don't want this.
Maybe see, the thing is, maybe we're going into it like we're looking at her age and maybe looking at women in general, and maybe we're giving women too much credit. Which I'm being sarcastic here. I'm being sarcastic here because essentially what we're almost saying is women, like, to me, this story points to women not knowing, like I guess, what type of man they're dealing with. According to her story, as she goes over it, she obviously knew what type of man she was dealing with, and she knew during this whole date what he was going after. So you see what I'm saying? Like, believe me, I have tons of female friends. Tons of female associates, tons of like, I guess, females like co-workers. And it's not like those conversations don't come up. They know exactly what to look for. They know exactly what's coming at them. They know exactly when they're dealing with somebody who aggressively wants sex. To continue to be in a situation where somebody is constantly aggressively asking for sex and know it at the time. But see, and again, I don't think this is a situation that, honestly, most women can honestly say that they can relate to. And this is why. Because look who we're talking about. We're talking about a celebrity. Are we going to act like she probably didn't overlook certain things because he was a celebrity and let things happen because she wanted to be out and date a celebrity? Do you see what I'm saying? Let's not act like she wasn't kind of enthralled by that herself, and maybe that influenced like the leeway that she gave him. You know what I'm saying?
Like, this happens all the time. In cases where the person is not a celebrity, like there are, and if you want to say this is more of a male characteristic that more men are sexually aggressive, okay, I'll give you that. But this happens all the time. If it doesn't escalate to the point where a man is like being physically restraining, like is physically trying to get sex from me, like that, like an actual assault. If it's a point where the woman can say, "Yo, this is not about to happen," then that's what the woman should do. This is not happening. Don't let the clothes come off. Don't let oral sex happen. Don't let any of that stuff happen, because you know that man exists. I think in the article too, she said something like, "Man, you're just like every other man." You know, it's like you knew. Okay, so if you know that he wants, like, he's going after it, he just wants you for sex. There's a lot of men out there like that. Those men
just didn't like just pop up yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Men like that didn't just pop up yesterday.
And of course, yeah, you can call them assholes. No doubt, you can say that they're empty inside. You know, they only want one thing.
They're narcissistic.
Yeah, you can say all of that. They're not good human beings.
Objectify women.
No doubt, and I'll agree with all of that. But this man isn't. You know, don't charge him with assault or say that he violated you or anything like that. No, I don't think I want to hear any of that, because in this particular case, you allowed it to happen.
And you know, like, I see this whole like, sometimes I think people, just as they're so eager to call people sellouts politically, I think when this conversation comes up, when men just have an opinion, they always want to use the word mansplaining. And Dominique right now is using that on the Facebook chat. And I think that's very dismissive, because if you really want this to be a conversation, then there's going to have to be some opinions, and there's going to have to be some perspectives that are given from the male side. I'm sorry if that offends you or hurts you, but I'm sorry. That's just the way it has to happen. Nobody is like interjecting or inserting themselves into a conversation where women are in their bubble and they need to have their moment. This is not what's going on here. I'm not trying hard to look like I'm mansplaining. I'm just a man who is explaining my side. And I'm sorry if that kind of gets to you, but you're just going to have to deal with it. If we're having a conversation about how men engage women, and we might have to have a conversation about how women engage men, then guess what? Then our perspective is going to have to get aired. That's just a reality. That's not mansplaining. That's just me having an opinion about something, because we're involved in this too. You see what I'm saying?
So, like, what I have a problem with is, in this case, like, this is being inserted into the conversation about toxic masculinity, and that's what I have a problem with, because, again, sex doesn't begin with the ask for permission. It just doesn't. If we're actually being honest here, it just doesn't begin with the verbal ask of permission. It begins with action. That's how it begins. 99.99999% of the time, that's how it begins, organically. So there is always going to be, like, pressure that's going to be put on another person. Like, now, does it come across as pressure? Depends on who that person is, if they actually want to have sex with the other person. So, like, if this is a case of toxic masculinity, right, I want to say, like, okay, so you know like, I've seen, like, one of the movies, the horrible movie, the 50 Shades, man. 50 Shades.
You saw that?
I saw the second one.
You saw that?
It was horrible, man.
Whoa,
horrible movie, man. Now, these movies, these books have made I mean, like, the movies made millions, almost $1 billion, okay?
Right.
And the movies, I mean, like, the whole story is about a man dominating this woman. The woman likes it, but the whole thing is about this man dominating this woman, like, telling her what to do sexually. That's what the whole thing is about, right? And it was written by a woman. Now, I've seen where some have said, like, you know, this is a societal thing where people are like it's like men are being instructed to pressure women into sex, right? So I'm just saying, like, is this book, is this movie, is this setting women back decades? Is this doing nothing for the, you know, the feminine movement, woman movement? I mean, like,
well, because most of the audience that kind of made this popular is women. Like,
that's
the movie. And
most of the people that are watching this movie are women. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when sex happens, a lot of women like an assertive man. If we want to be real, a lot of women like an assertive man. A lot of women want the man to make the first move. I don't think I'm wrong about that.
And you know what? For the longest, when we're talking about how women and men interact as far as romantically, what usually is brought up? Like, for years, like, kind of like before, like, this kind of this whole enthusiastic consent kind of got put out there. Before, when I was coming up, it was more about men can't just recognize signs. Men can't recognize subtleties. Men need to recognize subtleties. Men need to recognize these signs to let them know blah, blah, blah. So now we're gravitating towards something away from that. So now we're going from, you know, recognizing signs and recognizing subtleties and being more sensitive. We're getting away from that now. Now it's just everything has to be a enthusiastic yes, which again is very unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic because that doesn't happen.
We have a realistic problem, okay? We have a serious issue, just kind of that stems from the legacy of misogyny. Like, that's the truth. We have a serious issue, and we have a realistic issue to talk about. But the consequence needs to be, we need to have a realistic approach to it. Like, we need to have a realistic solution. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't take a realistic issue that needs to be talked about and apply some unrealistic standard. Because if you're applying that standard now, I have to retroactively go back and think about myself. And if I do that, I will have to consider myself a sexual assaulter and a rapist, because I've never got an enthusiastic yes from any woman. Now, I've never been denied.
Not you talking about verbally?
Verbally.
No.
Well, I've gotten an enthusiastic yes, but not verbally.
Not verbally.
Not verbally. I've never been denied. You know why? Because I think I was paying attention to those signs.
Right.
I never got denied because I think there was a mutual consenting understanding. There was consent without it being an enthusiastic yes verbally.
Now, is it possible for a man? Is it possible for a man to not read that sign?
Yes.
Is it possible for an aggressive man to not be even thinking about reading that sign because they're so jacked up and like, man, I want to have sex. I'm not reading any signs. I'm just trying to go in and trying to get sex.
But I do have a little bit of problem with the way the entire conversation around consent is framed, because it seems to only come up when situations that involve men being the pursuer. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this is not really about consent in a vacuum. It's more about, specifically about men getting consent from women. Now, this hasn't been explicitly stated, but the way these conversations have been framed and the circumstances these conversations have been framed around kind of leads to that being the case. And if we're going to talk about it like that, talking about enthusiastic consent, all the women that I've ever had any kind of sexual relations with, they should be considered guilty as well, because they never got an enthusiastic yes from me. I've never given an enthusiastic yes ever in my life, or even a yes. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the problem with the conversation. And it also assumes that there's no women who are pursuing sex. And are women who are pursuing sex getting enthusiastic yes from men? Probably not. Most likely not. Why? Because they're engaging in their sexual activities in an organic and natural way where they're reading signs and picking up signs too. So I just think that the conversation needs to be realistic. The conversation needs to be had, and there is a damn problem, but I just don't like people applying unrealistic standards, because I know what that comes from. That comes from a lot of pain. That comes from people, pain from being assaulted or molested. Right. So what happens is when you are dealing with that kind of pain, usually sometimes you're, I guess, to try to like heal from that pain or try to offer some sort of like, I guess, strategy for us to get over it might be unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? It's just unrealistic to me. You know what I'm saying?
The point is, I mean, Ansari, did he go after her aggressively? If you take her account as factual, did he go after her aggressively? Yes. Did he use who he is to his advantage? Like, did he take advantage of this woman? He may have. You may say that this dude is an asshole, man, and like I said, he's just one of these. He's one of these guys that just goes after sex very aggressively. You can say all of that, but this could have been shut down right at the front end.
Like, yeah,
it could have been shut down.
We're not denying your boy. Like, just reading, like, your boy was going overboard.
Yes,
but like that's just my personal opinion. I'm just thinking your boy's going overboard, like shoving fingers in the mouth.
Yeah, that I mean, like that's like that's way too much.
He's feeling himself.
Yeah, that's way too much.
He's feeling himself way too much.
Like I said, he was very aggressive.
He was feeling himself way too much.
But by how the story ended, it seems like it could have ended without any of that happening, man. That she felt like she was pressured into doing these things, like to take her clothes off, to do oral sex, and
be out.
Like, come on. I mean, like, then more has to be done to educate women about, look, if you don't want something to happen, you do not let it happen. Like
I said, these
say no.
All we're saying
I'm
is
not doing it.
These type of dudes are not going to go away.
No, they're not.
That's all
these
we're
type of
saying.
women aren't going away either. These type of people aren't going away.
Me personally, I'm not really down with the way he went about going after sex. What I'm saying is these dudes are not going to go away. And like, my thing is, if you look at the length of this, I guess, this circumstance and the length of how long it went on, obviously this dude was going after her constantly. Are we going to sit there and say that she is just dumb and naive and didn't recognize this? I can't say that. If I say that, then I'm not giving her the credit for being an intelligent human being, but I should be.
But the one problem, I mean, like, well, not the one problem, but a big problem I see in this is that this got to the media, man. Like, I don't like, is this something that should be discussed in the media? Because I don't think this is something, like, should he not have a career as an actor anymore because of this?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. But that's not my decision to make. I don't think it should affect his career at all. I think it should affect his standing as someone who is judged based on his level of game.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? His level of game and how he approaches women. To me, that's whack. Like personally, I think that's whack. But that's just how that's my personal feelings about it based on how he approached going after sex.
Right.
But like I said, these type of dudes ain't going nowhere.
No, and they've always been around.
So
they're not going anywhere. There's no amount of education that is gonna make them go away. Like they're gonna spring about just like they always have been for years since the beginning of time, man. If you're talking about men and women, if you're talking about a heterosexual relationship, people like to have sex. There's going to be times when somebody is going to be more aggressive than the other person would like. It's on that person to be like, yo, I'm not with this. Let's shut this thing down.
You know, and one thing I do want to point out is for the most of the people in the chat have had some differing opinions from each other, or some differing opinions than us. And for those of you who did have differing opinions than us and kind of express those with respect, I'm really feeling you. We may not like agree on everything, but at least we can have a conversation without disrespecting each other, and you know, and kind of like walking out and like kind of like keep talking to the hand, or True. You know what I'm saying, like
and see, that's another thing. Like, we don't talk about this as just like, I mean, like, okay, this is the male point of view, and we don't want to hear anything about what a woman says. Like, I looked at a lot of different comments online, and it seems to be on this particular case, most women are like, yo, this is not a story here.
So see,
like, this is not a story.
So that's the thing. So my thing is, if as a man we are being called like sick, or this is sickening, and you don't want to hear us, then what do you say to those women
that are saying the same
thing? They're saying the same thing? Are you going to say that they have some sort of internalized misogyny? I just don't think that's always the case. I just think that they, as women, have decided how they want to approach their life, and they don't necessarily want that somebody else's view to be projected onto him or to them, as if, hey, this is how y'all need to, I guess, perceive men, and how they present themselves to you and how they approach you. This is the way you need to perceive it. I think that's a problem too. It's just that I think everybody has a kind of a different tolerance level to certain individuals, including women. Everyone has a different tolerance level and what they feel is appropriate and how they engage life. And I think to put one standard on all women and how they should engage men is essentially like not productive, and it's not right.
All right, so we're gonna kick this over to YouTube and just continue the rest of the show on YouTube. Thank you for being with us on Facebook. We appreciate it. We have the link in the description. If you just click that, you'll be taken to the rest of the show on YouTube. We'll see you over there. All right. Well, I'm feeling kind of woozy. Straight up. This sickness got me, man. I was reading, man. I don't know if this is the flu or what, but I was reading that this flu season is pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
And the thing is, if you don't, the thing is, like, if you don't actually get over it,
yeah,
then it might come back, because your immune system hasn't truly like gotten over it. So it may come back. You might think you got something different when you actually got the same thing. And of course, the weather doesn't help.
Yeah, I know,
circulation is a little down during the wintertime.
And kids.
So
look, man, because I was talking to him, man. We've known each other for years. I've never been sick this much before kids. Kids bring home that sickness.
We used to go hard Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Every week.
Out all night.
Every single week.
Not like this.
No.
Be in smoke-filled environments.
Not getting any sleep.
Smoke-filled environments for non-smokers. Yes. You know how non-smokers react to the smoke-filled environments. You'd be sick the next day. But we got through it. But your boy got kids now.
Yeah, man. As soon as my daughter hit school, man, she kept bringing these infections home. And I was reading, and it seems like, every infection is different. And there's certain infections that adults haven't I guess, had an immunity to. They haven't developed some long-term immunity to, so it's a whole thing. And her doctor, I mean, the kid's doctor, they say this is just normal as can be. This is nothing, you know, it's not a rare situation. They just get sick all the time.
Yo, so. Gene, that's 100 right there. No, for real. That ginger and lemon, I don't know about the garlic. I usually do ginger, lemon, and just that's it. Or I may add some like peppermint, but yeah, ginger and lemon. That junk is mad underrated. Sometimes you put a little pineapple up in there too, but yeah,
I did the hot toddy again. I did that. I did it the right way this time. Remember, I did the wrong way last time, and that junk was not effective whatsoever. I did it the right way, and actually, it went down smooth. It probably worked. I mean, yeah, it probably worked. It made me a little hot, so. But anyway, ginger root tea, huh?
Yeah. You can get ginger root from most grocery stores.
Yeah.
But usually I do go the organic route.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to this weekend. Lots of rest, man. Honey, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Honey and lemon. Yeah.
The whiskey, yeah. That's what was in that hot toddy, man. I got the I forgot the whiskey that I have. It's the whatever.
Is it Tennessee?
Nah, it's not Tennessee. It's the Crown. Is it? No, it's not Crown. I forgot what it is, man. You know I'm not there right now, though. I'm not thinking about it. Anyway, all right, let's get to all right, so yeah, so upcoming, we've talked about this. There's a battle, you know, in Congress with this whole shutdown thing. They're facing the deadline of Saturday to come to some agreement to fund the government. It looks like the Democrats have the votes needed to shut it down. So I don't know what's gonna happen. It seems like they always wait to that 11th hour, and then they come to some temporary spending agreement. So,
and then didn't your boy was it Mitch McConnell? No, it wasn't Mitch McConnell. Who was it? Who's Frogneck?
Frogneck.
What's the Frogneck dude?
I don't know who you're talking about, man. Frogneck got me, so I don't know who you're talking about.
Dude. Turkey neck, whatever.
It's McConnell, right?
McConnell.
Yeah.
McConnell.
You said not McConnell, though. I'm like, I don't know Frogneck dude.
That's the first person that came in the head. But he said he wanted to wait until see what Trump was going to do. He wanted to wait to see what Trump was going to do. I'm like, you're lying. You're not waiting to see what Trump's going to do because you know good and well Trump doesn't know what he's doing.
And Trump actually he caused a bit of a stir because he sent out a tweet about CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program, saying that shouldn't be discussed inside this temporary spending bill. It should be like a term that should be on the long-term solution, not as part of this like 30-day solution or something like that. So Republicans after that was like, hey, hold on, man, we're good on that, man. Stop talking, or we're good on that. I don't know why you're bringing that up.
See, because he doesn't. See, he just messes things up.
So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I know that because they want to keep kicking this thing down the road. They're kicking the can down the road because this temporary spending bill would. It would go through to mid-February, and then they have to deal with it again. And like we talked about before, the Democrats want DACA to be a part of this because if they don't get DACA as part of this funding the government, this spending bill, then what incentive do Republicans have to do anything about DACA? They have no incentive whatsoever. They'll just let it die, and then 800,000 people.
So basically, it's like. What Republicans intended to do from the jump is kind of like use these DACA recipients as like a bargaining chip. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Basically use them use them as objects. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Put their lives on the line to get what they want. Yep. So now Democrats who are essentially, I wouldn't say using that same strategy, but using that strategy against them and saying, nah, this junk is going to be in the spending bill. Yeah. So you have to deal with it. So that's why the Republicans are kind of trying to, push it down so they don't want to have to deal with it. But I think Democrats are doing the right thing by saying, nah, dog, y'all got to put this in. Y'all got to put this in here.
True. Because like I said, what incentive will they have to actually protect these people? I don't think they will have any incentive whatsoever. They'll just keep kicking that can way down the road. And that might be at the end of 2020, you know, until the next president gets in, or if Donald Trump.
Well, actually, that might. I mean, I think either way would work for anybody who is in support of these DACA recipients, because if they constantly have to keep kicking it down the can, that means the judge that overrode kind of Trump's mandate to do away with DACA, that means they're going to constantly have to just offer temporary relief.
Right, no doubt.
So that might actually work out for DACA recipients.
You might be right.
I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. That's just
you might be right. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, Saturday is the deadline that they have to fund the government. So Nancy Pelosi, the House Minority Leader, she referred to the Republican proposal as, quote, a bowl of doggy doo with a cherry on top.
You already know how I feel about that, dog. Like, stop it.
I mean, she's right.
She's right.
But what's your problem?
I just like it's just like she's just like all the other Democrats. Is that they pick these very these progressive issues, especially ones that won't really affect like I guess how much donations they get. They'll pick those issues and then be uber progressive. They'll have this uber amount of like I guess sympathy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, for people. But then they'll turn around and then vote for the NSA surveillance.
Yeah.
Spying,
continue spying on America.
They'll vote for that shit. I'm like I'm talking about, where's y'all agenda at? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, so if this is a bowl of doggy doo, then why wasn't continuing the NSA spying program?
So basically she's admitting that she loves big bowls of doggy doo. Like she loves like licking that bowl clean. She loves taking spoonfuls and licking that bowl clean. That's by her own admission. If Republicans don't want to work with Democrats in regard to keeping DACA solvent, then what does it say about her to work with Republicans to continue NSA surveillance on Americans,
it's a game,
on the world? It's a damn game.
Yep. All right. What am I gonna talk about here? Let's talk about this. All right. So let's talk about all right. So the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. We have talked about this a number of times. This is the organization, the agency that was created to help consumers, to ensure that consumers are not railroaded by corporations, by companies, to ensure that they are not abused. That's why this agency was created. Now, the former director, Richard Cordray, he resigned recently, some weeks back, because seemingly because he's going to make a run for governor in Ohio. So that left President Trump to nominate the new acting director, and so he nominated Mick Mulvaney. He was a former congressman from South Carolina, I believe. Yeah, he was from right here.
Oh yeah,
Republican. And when Mick Mulvaney took the reins, he promised that he did not intend to blow up the agency. He said that he had no intention of blowing it up, because there was a lot of talk about how he was going to run this into the ground, like how he was going to undermine the agency. Well,
yeah, he said he wanted to. He did say he wanted to have a more business-friendly approach.
A business-friendly approach,
because he wanted to prevent the CFPB from interfering with capitalism. I thought, isn't that what it's kind of supposed to do? But anyway, that's what the agency's job is.
So, just recently, this new acting director, Mick Mulvaney, he told the Federal Reserve that he doesn't want any money going towards the CFPB for this fiscal quarter.
And funding that agency.
Yeah, and funding the agency. He doesn't want any new money coming in to fund the agency to go towards helping consumers.
But I'm sure there's
protecting consumers.
But Will, I think what's gonna come next from you is you're going to give me, or you're going to tell the viewers his pragmatic reasoning.
Oh yeah. Okay, because he has a reason. He does have a reason for this. Okay, and you're gonna understand his reason, man. It's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
So this was his actual statement. Okay. He said, while this approximately 145 million may not make much of a dent in the deficit, the men and women at the Bureau are proud to do their part to be responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars.
Oh, so it's not really about politics. It's about like a fiscal responsibility.
Yes.
So the funding that would go to this agency can now go to reducing the deficit. But wait a second. Didn't these mugs just pass a bill?
They did.
That ripped a new asshole in the deficit?
The deficit. So over the next 10 years, the new tax bill that they wrote into legislation is going to increase the deficit by like 1.5 trillion dollars.
10 times. 10 times. So now they care about the deficit. But anyway, but this is about protecting the consumer. So isn't it worth the expense?
And the $145 million that he's talking about
is
really? You think that's gonna affect the deficit that much? It's not.
You need like a microscope.
Exactly. So do you really believe that that's the reason why he doesn't want any money going to the CFPB? Because he just feels like the money would be better going towards relief for the deficit? Really? Are you? Come on, man. That was. Come on, man. You could have come up with something way better than that. All right, so the former director Cordray, in the previous fiscal quarter, he asked for $217 million. $217 million. Again, this money is going towards fighting for regular people, fighting for the consumer, making sure that they are not just railroaded, screwed over by corporations. This new acting director says that, you know what, we don't need any money on that end. You know what, just use that money to, kind of decrease that deficit. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Even though it's not really going to do that.
It's not going to do it. Because, again, like we said, the tax bill just increased it by $1.5 trillion.
But now they care about the deficit when it has to do with trying to protect the American consumer. That's kind of funny.
So protect the American consumer, protect American corporations.
Oh, we already know what that's about, because just last week, the agency that he's in charge of just dropped a lawsuit against the payday lending companies, which they were guilty of not disclosing how much the loans were worth and how much actually these customers were borrowing. The agency that he just took over just dropped that lawsuit last week. Guess who's received money from the payday loan industry? Take one guess.
Mr. Mulvaney?
Yes! Got it. Yeah. I think it's like $63,000.
Yeah. That's how it goes, right?
That's how it goes. Like the kleptocracy is already on HGH. It's already on HGH. Now, this joker wants to put it on more steroids.
This is the same guy that referred to the CFPB before he took control over, before he became the acting director. He called it a sick and sad joke. He said that he called the agency an awful example of bureaucracy. Said it was flawed and completely unaccountable. So you know what? Just save that money. We don't want any money coming in here to protect consumer interest. Just go ahead and tear into that deficit. Let's again. So if the tax bill was meant to help corporations, not bringing any money into the CFPB, isn't that meant to help corporations as well? Because then they have no money to investigate any crimes, right? any acts.
So you give corporations more power.
Yeah.
You give corporations more power.
Mm-hmm. You give them the right to do whatever they want to do, to screw over any consumer they want to, and the CFPB is not going to be there.
We've talked about Equifax, haven't we?
We have.
So they're trying to loosen the rules on forced arbitration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're trying to take away the Consumer Protection Board's ability to even fight that, something that they are gutting.
But he's not trying to blow it up.
This is blowing up. This is blown. This is the definition of blown.
Man, and again, like, you know, we talked about at the beginning of the show. These are the things that we talk about. This is part of the Trump administration.
What?
This is part of the Trump era.
No. I think you need to like kind of say that again.
Yeah, the Trump administration.
Wait. That sounded like you said Clinton.
No. See,
you sure?
It's not the Clinton administration.
You sure?
This is the Trump administration.
Okay.
So to just be focusing on Hillary is crazy.
Gosh, I don't want to bring that up again, but again, this kind of proves that point.
Why the hell would you?
Emails, dog. Her emails, bro.
Yeah, that's more important.
That's more important right now
than undermining the CFPB. All right. So Bernie Sanders, the independent senator from Vermont, he introduced a piece of legislation that would make it possible to import pharmaceutical drugs from Canada. The bill failed. The bill failed.
Yeah. I wonder if there were any Democrats that voted against the bill. You think there were some Democrats that voted against the bill?
So it failed 52 to 46, right? Now 2 senators didn't vote.
Okay. All right.
So you see 52 to 46, and you're like, well, damn. Okay, there's 51 Republicans,
and you already know all of them voted. You already know all of them voted against it.
Yeah, but actually they didn't. Actually, they didn't. So actually, 13 Republicans joined Sanders.
Wow.
Republicans actually want this to happen.
So
they want to import pharmaceutical drugs.
That there was a couple of handfuls of Democrats that voted against
Baker's dozen. 13, man.
Don't you mean Booker's dozen? I was playing.
So, so it's interesting, so because 13 Republicans joined Sanders and 13 Democrats joined the Republicans that opposed it. One of those Democrats that opposed this piece of legislation was Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey. I don't know, maybe the 2020 Democratic hopeful for president? Maybe.
Dog, I'm about to cut you off, dog. Don't say that, dog. Dude, dog, don't even say that. You know he's trying to be, dog.
You know he looked like he's running.
He's looked like he's running because remember that whole like grandstanding?
Oh, gosh.
Like to me, it was more like coattail riding too. But it was grandstanding on this soapbox when he was supporting Bernie Sanders on his Medicare for All bill.
He co-sponsored the Medicare for All bill.
Yo, it looked like he was like on his like some sort of like freedom fighter.
He was more enthusiastic than anybody else that spoke. It seemed like he was. It seemed like he was the one that introduced the bill.
Yo, it was like a I've been to the mountaintop kind of speech,
man. Dog. But see, I believe we were just looking at a clip too of him before the show. It just seems like his emotion is manufactured. It doesn't seem genuine.
Yeah, like we saw the video of him with the Norway.
Yeah.
Then it was the I don't even know where her position was.
No, I don't.
But it was when they were questioning her, about like Trump's comments about Norway. It just looks so staged. You didn't think so at first.
Not at first.
And I just said, well, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And I was like, sometimes maybe his outrage seems fake because he's just a corny dude.
Yeah. But then it was at one point
it was like
that's too much.
I was like, yo, you're extra. You could like everything he does. It just seems like he's trying to like create some sort of resume for himself. Like
that's what it seems like. So okay, so the whole reason why Bernie Sanders introduced this legislation is so that the drugs coming from Canada would be cheaper for Americans. Like those drugs would be cheaper here, right? I mean, that's the whole reason why this piece of legislation was being proposed. Now, Cory Booker, he supports the idea, but this is why he said that he did not support this legislation. Okay? This was a statement that he provided. He said, any plan to allow the importation of prescription medication should also include consumer protections that ensure foreign drugs meet American safety standards. I opposed an amendment put forward last night that didn't meet this test. So he's putting it on safety standards, right? Now,
where are the drugs coming from? I'm going to ask you.
I told you don't make me laugh, dog.
That's a question.
All right, so let's you asked me where the drugs are coming from.
Where the drugs coming
now, they're coming from Canada, but that's not where most of the drugs that would be imported into America were manufactured in America. So they came from America, they went to Canada, and they would be coming back to America. And Cory Booker is saying that, well, I don't, safety standards aren't up to par. You can't ensure the safety of these drugs. I'm out. Sorry. Nope. No go.
This came from an Intercept article, right?
This was from an Intercept article.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the title of the article is just. The title of the article should have been American-made drugs don't meet American safety standards. Cory Booker. Or it could have been like Cory Booker says drugs made in America aren't safe. Either one of those titles would have worked. Because isn't that what he's saying?
It's ridiculous, man. Like, take the word. Former Governor Tim Pawlenty, who was a Republican, okay? Republican. He said, my first response to that is show me the dead Canadians. Where are the dead Canadians? Even if these drugs were manufactured in Canada, are we talking about like a third world country? Are we talking about some like
Congo? Yeah. The Congo, Afghanistan,
like
Somalia,
where like regulation, you don't know what's going on over there.
Liberia?
Yeah. Like we're talking about Canada. We're talking about Canada.
Wait a second.
How's their healthcare system?
They're ranked number 2 in the world, dog.
Oh my gosh.
2.
Number 2 in the world.
Yes, sir.
And a U.S. senator is saying that we can't trust Canada. We can't trust the Canadian drugs. The U.S. drugs that are in Canada coming back to the United States of America. We can't trust those because of safety standards. We can't ensure that they won't harm Americans, even though they were made here and they are safe for Canadians. Not a third world country. A prosperous country, well, Canada is.
Well, then, what do you think it's about, though? What do you think his stance is about? I mean, it's not like he takes money from the big pharma, does it?
Well, it seems like over the past 6 years, and this is per the Intercept article as well, he has taken more money from the pharmaceutical industry than any other Democratic senator, to the tune of over $267,000. So he takes in the most money. Like there's nobody above him. He takes in the most money from the pharmaceutical industry. And on an issue where drugs could come in that would lower the cost for Americans, he takes a position that says no.
So you're saying Cory Booker is a corporate goon that with no backbone that gives fiery speeches but doesn't really have a meaningful agenda to back up those speeches? Because he talks pretty, but he blocks legislation. What?
It seems like this is just like traditional politics, man. It seems like he got hooks in him.
you know, it seems like he's willing to be hooked too.
It seems like that,
like,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Seems like he's just this example. I mean, like this example that we always see about this money in politics. If he's the top guy getting all this money from the pharmaceutical industry, and then he makes a decision that goes against his position, like, because his position is that he does want pharmaceutical drugs to be lowered. The cost of pharmaceutical drugs to be lowered.
That's what he said.
He says he wants lower cost. But then a bill comes up to where it could lower the cost, and you say, no, I can't ensure the safety when they're coming from Canada by route of America?
But see, that's the thing. If that's his case, then why, I guess, doesn't he have some sort of, like, I don't know, idea or some sort of proposal that will ensure the safety of the drugs? You know, if that's like his concern, wouldn't that be your next step? To see that these drugs are safe? Well, so then the result would be cheaper drugs you know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's gonna happen, because I think who he actually wants to protect is the pharmaceutical industry. That's what I think. That's just my opinion. I think he doesn't care about the consumers. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think it's obvious. I think that's obvious. I think you have to be like blind not to see that. Canada, not Cambodia. Maybe he got too confused. No, he didn't.
Canada.
But what disappoints you about this, and not just like Cory Booker's position, and not just Democrats' position on these discount drugs, and not kind of following Bernie Sanders' lead? What kind of disappoints you, like, in addition to this?
Oh, in addition to this, okay, so this was revealed back on the 12th. This article on The Intercept came out on the 12th of January. Okay, so this was almost a week ago. Now, on January 16th, Sean King, who has worked for, he does work for TYT now.
Mm-hmm. He does some work for The Intercept too.
Yeah, The Intercept. He has a very large presence on social media. He speaks out about injustice all the time. He put out a post on Facebook advocating for Cory Booker on January 16th. This was 4 days after this article came out. 4 or 5 days after Cory Booker said no to imported drugs from Canada coming to America. This was the post that he put out. And he said, I'd like for my most progressive friends, particularly those who love Bernie, to open their hearts up for Cory Booker. I'm not talking about the presidency. I just mean in general, considering letting an old grudge go. Bernie respects him, and I do too. He proudly co-sponsored Bernie's universal health care bill, has authored the most progressive criminal justice bill in the Senate right now, and is working day and night to oppose bigotry coming from the White House. I spoke with him personally and came away feeling like he was one of the most sincere political leaders I'd ever met. Let's challenge him on votes and positions we may be concerned about. He's game for that, but don't close him off. He's a good dude, and I trust him. Now, I don't agree with him on every position, but that's true with me for Bernie and every other leader as well. Just thinking out loud here.
I think it wouldn't have been so bad if he didn't mention Bernie Sanders. Because if you're going to tout that as the reasoning behind why people should support Booker, then it falls flat, because didn't Bernie Sanders support these reduced price pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah. So why bring Bernie up?
Why bring
up the Medicare for All bill when he's clearly on the other side of the getting the drugs from Canada?
Getting the drugs from and actually that was actually a part of the Affordable Care Act, the discounted drugs in 2009. But
actually, Trump Trump has said that he's an advocate for that as well.
And they didn't want to vote. They took that part out because they were fearful that, because obviously the pharmaceutical industry is going to play a part in the Affordable Care Act. So they were afraid that the pharmaceutical industry would not sign on and be proponents of the ACA. So many Democrats kind of scrapped that part of the ACA. So Democrats have a long history of kind of blocking this proposal for cheaper drugs. But it's also funny that he says something about old grudges. What?
Yeah.
Letting an old grudge go. Yeah. Yo, he just created a new grudge. He just created a new grudge.
See,
do you see what I'm saying?
That was a deep laugh, though.
And to me, let me calm down. Because I was about to, if I was going to say what I was going to say, I would have had a message from my mom. But I don't give a shit if you challenge bigotry, but you take it up the ass from corporations.
Yeah.
I can care less. He challenges bigotry.
And then, the part about he personally, like, he spoke with them personally and came away with the feeling like he was a good dude. Look, if you talk to any of these politicians, you know what I think? If you talk to Hillary Clinton, I bet you would come away feeling like she's a good person. I bet you she's very personable. It doesn't mean anything, though.
Oh, so basically, like, all he's focused on is how Booker comes off.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Look at his decision. That's where the proof is in the pudding. Like, look at what, like, when it's actually come down to the wire, like, what do they do? And Cory Booker showed himself to be an establishment goon. He showed himself to have a hook in him that makes its way all the way back to the pharmaceutical industry.
These mothers love being, like, hooked by Pinhead. You know, Hellraiser?
Yep.
These mothers loves the hooks in them. They love that. They love that, man. I don't know how.
So, I mean, I don't know. Before Sean King put this post out there, did he see? Did he know?
Guess what?
Did he know that Cory Booker said no to this importation of pharmaceutical drugs?
The answer doesn't matter. The answer doesn't matter because it's up to him to know where Booker stands. If you're you're going to vouch for him, if you're going to put it out there on Facebook, where you have a gazillion followers, if you have a gazillion followers, you're going to put it out there. It is up to you to make sure you understand where Booker stands currently. And like you said, it was 4 days.
4 days, man.
Been 4 days. So this
since
vote
the
was
article
4
came
days.
out.
Since the article came
but
out.
But the vote, I think, was 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think the answer matters. Whether he knew or not, that's inconsequential. If he knew, then that makes it even more egregious. If he didn't, it's just somewhat, like, is neglectful. So
and just like you said, like, comparing him to Bernie is ridiculous because, like, we don't have to agree with every single politician, like, all the time. Like, that's ridiculous. But I get the feeling that Cory Booker is not a genuine politician. That's the problem I have with him. Like, there's some things that I disagree with Bernie Sanders about, but I don't feel that Bernie Sanders is in the tank for, you know, Big Pharma or Wall Street. So, like, I'm okay with Bernie Sanders as a politician. Cory Booker, as we just read off, takes the most money than any other Democratic senator from the pharmaceutical industry. And then when he makes a decision like this, you see where his interests truly lie, and it's not for the American consumer.
And the reason why he made his decision is presenting itself as nonsensical.
Yeah. We can't trust the safety of these drugs that were made in America. See, like, he's really treating people like they're stupid. Like, he doesn't want you to know that information. Oh yeah, most of these drugs were made in America, but see, you know, that's not going to be reported.
Well, what he wants to do is, you know, when he talks, he puts his lip real tight, and he talks with force, and he talks with aggression, assertiveness, and that should make you overlook his bullshit. You know how he does, like, you know how he does. He has his intense look, and he tightens his lips. You know what I'm saying? You know how he does.
Man. All right. So let's talk about doctors. The job of doctors is what? Take care of the patients, right?
Correct.
They have an ethical duty to treat their patients, right? So the Trump administration is going towards, well, they're going to some extreme lengths to protect doctors that do not want to service people that have lifestyles to which they do not agree with. So so they're going to be creating the division of conscience and religious freedom. They're creating this whole division of conscience and religious freedom, and it's to protect doctors and nurses and other healthcare workers who refuse to take part in procedures like abortion or treat certain people because of moral or religious objections. That's from NPR. This whole organization, this agency, whatever like that, is to protect these healthcare individuals that do not want to treat people that have undergone an abortion or whatever.
It's quite simple. Don't work there.
Don't work there.
Don't get in that field. You know what you're getting into.
If you're a doctor.
This is just another excuse. What they're trying to do is, I give certain people a platform so that they can control people based on their own religious views. Like, if it's against my religion to serve alcohol, but I demand to work at a bar, I only want to serve soda. You know what I'm saying? Like
you don't need that job.
No, you don't need that job.
You don't need that job.
You just don't need that job. What about a movie theater? What if the movie content was against your religious beliefs? What if there was like homosexuality or fornication or whatever it is? It's your job to turn on the projector. And you say, nah, I don't want to do that. That movie's against my beliefs. I mean, all right.
What about because we're talking about doctors, and I mean they have to serve the public, right? What about the police? What about law enforcement? What if they come up onto a scene and there's two lesbians there, two gay dudes there, and they have some domestic situation going on, but they're like, you know what? I don't agree with your lifestyle. Let me, you know what? I can't deal with this.
Exactly. I'm not going to do my job.
I'm going to call somebody else.
I'm not going to do my job. I'm not going to do my job.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
Like, I don't know. There just seems to be a large segment of the population that thinks religious freedom means the freedom to make other people follow your religion. I'm like, you have religion. People have religious freedom. That means that they are free to practice religion on themselves. They can practice their religion on themselves. If you think abortion is a sin, don't have one. You think homosexuality is a sin, don't be gay.
Yeah,
but you think premarital sex or fornication is a sin? Yeah, don't have sex.
But you can't project that onto other people. Like, what's right for you doesn't mean that it's right for somebody else. What's wrong for you, same thing. Now, this is supposed to be focused on, like, it's supposed to be mainly focused on abortions, right? But this is how ridiculous this is. There's only a certain there's only a certain type of doctor that's going to perform an abortion. Like, if you're going to perform an abortion, like, that's what you're going to do. Okay, so it's not like a doctor, like a pediatrician, is going to be performing an abortion. So this is how ridiculous this is. But let's say you may need to see a doctor after you had an abortion. They're saying that because you had an abortion, this doctor that doesn't agree with your choice has the right to say, I don't want to see you because you had an abortion. Also, it's very broad to where
it could be anything, not just abortion.
It could be anything. So it could be two lesbians.
Yeah,
they don't agree with your lifestyle.
It could be like,
we're not seeing you.
Have you and your boyfriend been engaging in premarital sex?
Exactly. It's not a slippery slope. It's straight off of a cliff. We're going into an area where it's like, okay, how about, because if we're talking about religious freedom, there's a lot of people that will tell you that interracial marriage
is against God's will.
Is against God's will, right? Mm-hmm. So what if a doctor's like, oh, hold up, interracial marriage, you two are married? I can't treat your condition. I can't provide you with care. This is the cliff that we're going off of because of the Trump administration. protecting doctors because of religious freedom. The the director of the Department of Health and Human Services, this guy's name is Roger Severino, and he said, never forget that religious freedom is a primary freedom, that it is a civil right that deserves enforcement and respect.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, I respect somebody else to practice the religion on their own damn self.
Duh. He's using civil rights to destroy civil rights.
He's using civil rights language to destroy actual civil rights. That's the trick.
That's
and you know
crazy.
what? And you know what the funny thing about it is? Like, separation of church and state, actually, it's not just to benefit the non-religious. It's actually to benefit the religious. Because what? Because first of all Christians don't practice the same Christianity. There's a gazillion denominations.
There are.
They have a different view on what Christianity is, what God permits, what God thinks is a sin. So it permits one religion from actually enforcing itself over other religions, more so than preventing religions from forcing itself on the non-religious. It actually protects religious people too. Separation of church and state actually protects religious people from being persecuted by other religious people.
Oh no, you know what? I misspoke. Roger Severino, he's actually the director of the HHS's Office for Civil Rights.
Ugh.
So again, this is a dude that is using civil rights to deny other people their civil rights. Now, in this NPR article too, they were saying that on many examples, there was a nurse who didn't provide post-operative care to a woman who had an abortion, just like I was saying. Not the abortion. Not the nurse didn't perform the abortion. She wasn't being tasked with performing the abortion. It was just that this particular woman had an abortion. She needed post-operative care. This nurse was like, nope, I don't agree with your life choice. Sorry, I'm not going to do my job. A pediatrician who declined to see a child because his parents were lesbians. The child. The child he won't see.
So it had nothing to do with the child, but just the child's parents.
The child needs care.
Wait a second.
But you don't agree with the parents.
Wait. So, dog, I'm confused. Because the whole idea around, allowing them to make decisions based on some sort of religious standard falls apart. Because what do they always talk about? They want these babies to be born. They don't like abortion because they care about the babies.
Yep.
So the babies are here.
And so they don't care about them.
They don't care about them.
Nope.
Because of their parents?
Because of their... Also, there was a fertility doctor who didn't want to provide services to a lesbian couple. Why are you a fertility doctor? You know that anybody can come in and seek services. It's not just heterosexual.
They're trying to get away from violating discrimination laws. This is what they're trying to get away from. Damn, man, Hillary Clinton's fucking stuff up, dog. Ah, dang, my bad.
Yeah, I know.
My bad. I just
you forgot she's not the president.
I forgot she's not the president.
It's Trump. See, Trump is trying to protect these doctors based on religious freedom. Trump is trying to discriminate against people. Trump. Not Clinton. Trump. Causing all this damage right here. Trump is.
So this could potentially affect the lives of people immediately.
Immediately, man.
Immediately.
Yes. It's like I said, man, they're creating this whole new organization just to do this. Just to deny people their civil rights.
So they're expanding government to deny people their civil rights.
Bigger government. Bigger. But, the same people that hate big government will applaud bigger government if it's to deny other people.
See,
they don't like their civil rights.
See, this is why it's important to talk about how when people use certain terms, it doesn't mean it doesn't automatically mean they mean it the same way that another group does. So when we say big government, it'll mean something different than when they say big government. That's why it's important not to say, "Look, we could link up with these people," simply because we both believe in small government, or we don't want the government to have too much power. See what I'm saying?
Like we believe, like where government is too big is the military. I believe big government is too big in the military. But they like people on the other side would say government is too big in entitlements.
Exactly. So if you suggest that, like maybe like the alt-right and progressives come together, or the alt-right, or let's say progressives and conservatives come together on the under the simple heading of they both don't like big government.
Not talking about the same thing.
You're not talking about the same thing.
That's why you can't join up
or
with
like
them.
when mugs say the police state. To them, the police state could be Jews.
Yep.
To them, the police state could be George Soros. To them, the police state could be like anything that they're against. To us, the police state is totally different. I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, man.
Maybe they do, but we ain't gonna get into that.
Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma, a Republican, he said in a statement, health providers should have the ability to live their religious beliefs without fear of workplace discrimination.
Whoa!
No, they shouldn't.
Whoa!
No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't.
So
you're in the workplace. You do your damn job.
So wait a second. Like, how are they, dog? That's the fallacious flip of a lifetime. Like,
you're saying that you can discriminate.
Someone won't let you practice your religion on them.
Yep.
They're discriminating against you.
That's crazy, man.
That's a fallacious flip right there, dog. That's the hell of a fallacious flip.
It's so stupid. Like it's really hard to wrap your mind around it, man. Like
that's like saying, like, if a random dude on the street doesn't allow me to punch him, that means he is assaulting me.
Yeah, he's discriminating.
He's the assaulter because he won't allow me to punch him in the face. That means he is the assaulter.
You're being discriminated.
I'm
it's like what words can you come up? I don't even know, man. It's like this is crazy, man. You're tasked with a job as a doctor. You care for patients. It doesn't say you care for white patients. It doesn't say you care for black patients. It doesn't say you care for heterosexual patients. It doesn't say anything about that. As a doctor, you care for human beings. That's it. It has nothing to do with their life choice. They're in your office. They're in the hospital because they need medical assistance. That's why you have to provide it. You don't have to agree with them being a lesbian, them being gay, them having had an abortion. What if I'm a gambler? Like, you know what I'm saying?
What if
I... Like, there's many things. There's many things in the Bible, right?
So many things. No.
There's many things in the Bible. What if I eat some fish?
Pork. No, pork. Fish is good.
Fish is good. Yeah, pork.
What if we eat pork?
Yeah, right.
Bacon.
Right.
So, like, they may not provide you with care. Like, I'm not going to fix your ACL because you have bacon. I don't want to fix your ACL because you eat bacon.
What if I had two different different fabrics? You know what I'm saying? That's religious freedom, right? I come in the hospital wearing two different fabrics, man. Oh, get out of here. Sorry, we can't treat you. Go home and change.
But see, they're not going to pick those ones. You know what? They're going to target specific ones.
That's right. That's why it's full of shit.
That's why it's full of shit. But what would Jesus do? Jesus would obviously did not care to a 3-year-old because their parents are lesbians.
And this is what I mean. Like, this is actually what they're citing too. Religion. They're making it seem like Jesus would deny services, would be okay with denying services to a child that has lesbian parents. That's what Jesus would do? That's what your God would do?
No, that's what they would do. It's just that they're projecting their desires on some sky daddy to make their desires seem more valuable and legitimate. That's what it is.
All right, we're going to get to the last story here, which is the governor of New Mexico. The governor of New Mexico's name is Susana Martinez, and she has recently, well, actually, she hasn't recently done it. She's planning on proposing a piece of legislation that would protect law enforcement even further. Like they need more protection. I don't think they need more protection, but obviously this governor does believe they need more protection. So her bill would shield officers who fail to comply with police orders. Okay. So basically, she feels that, and actually this is her statement, okay? This is her statement. She said, I don't believe that police officers should be under this constant threat of lawsuits that will often cause them to pause. If they're following their training, there should be something that protects them. So what the bill would do, it would pretty much grant immunity to officers. Nobody could sue them. There would be no recourse at all. Now, this bill seems strange. One, because how many times are police officers? Like, usually, if something happens, the city gets sued. The city gets sued, and usually it's paid through the insurance that they have. Yes, and there's a settlement that's provided by the city, not by the individual.
Yeah,
officer.
the officer doesn't have to pay.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So what are they being protected? Like protected financially, protected their job security, protected as in they don't get prosecuted.
Okay. You said something about being prosecuted, right? Okay. So also she said the bill would protect cops and citizens from, quote, this is a quote, that taxpayers are giving crooks and thieves who are hurt or injured by police officers who are doing their job. I can't believe she actually put that together. She actually put that in a statement in one sentence. So
basically she is suggesting that the people who are granted a settlement for whatever reason, for whatever level of police brutality that they faced, are automatically criminals.
They're crooks and thieves. Everybody that gets a settlement are crooks and thieves.
Matter of fact, it's almost just based on everything she said about this legislation. It sounds like anybody who is, I guess, in a situation where they're engaging with a police officer and the police officer thinks they're guilty for some reason, everyone in that situation is a crook and a thief by definition. You see what I'm saying?
And she believes that in her statement, she kind of made it seem like, okay, so if these crooks and thieves are injured by police officers, then that's just a result of police officers doing their job. So if police officers brutalize these criminals and these thieves, that's just the course of them doing their jobs. Like, that's okay.
Yo, doesn't this kind of remind you of the conversation we had, I think it was last Thursday, about people who say that individuals bringing up police brutality are making it hard for law enforcement to do their job, which suggests they are suggesting that it is law enforcement's job
to brutalize
people.
That's exactly what she said. It is she said it's the job of people, the job of officers to brutalize these crooks and thieves. Like, let's just say that
they are. Let's just say they are.
Let's just say they're crooks and thieves. Okay. These police officers are called to a scene, called to a location. They got to arrest these crooks and thieves. Cool. We're totally for that. No problem whatsoever. But what we're not for is that the officer has the right to brutalize them.
Yeah, because then like if you do say that they do, they have the right to brutalize you if you most likely or obviously committed a crime. Right. Let's just say that's permissible. Okay, now you have to ask the question, are there going to be levels? Like, are they going to say, like, are you going to establish, like, what crime is committed and what type of brutality or what level of brutality it's acceptable based on that crime? You see what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know, you're just a little pickpocket, so it's okay if you get kicked in the shin. Or so you know, hey,
knock him upside the head with a baton. Like, you know, hey, just one time.
You knocked you robbed an old lady, you knocked her down. So you know, it's permissible for you to get chopped in the throat. Or you know, like. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. Hey, you robbed the bank. You robbed the bank. Now, we could, no matter if you're resistant or not, we could tase you.
Yep.
We could stick the dog on you.
And that's just officers doing their job.
That's officers doing their job.
But see, we just said that. Like we just said that we just allowed for the fact that these are crooks and thieves. Let's say that they aren't. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say that they aren't crooks and thieves. Okay. Let's say that somebody was arrested, but they actually hadn't done anything. But they got brutalized. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you can't. That's not justice, because see, we have a system here. We have a criminal justice system. It goes through the criminal justice system to determine like what the level of punishment is going to be. It's not on the officer to say, well, you know what? He robbed a bank. He deserves 2 clubbings. He domestic violence.
That's 5 clubbings.
Yeah, it's like no. This is ridiculous right here. And like I said, they don't need more protection. They're already protected. How many times are officers actually held accountable for their horrible actions? Like, how many times are they actually prosecuted? How many times are they actually found guilty? It doesn't happen very often. So
yeah, like, how often do they even get to that point where they're on trial in the first place?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, we've gone through the numbers. I remember, I remember going through the numbers, just looking at, like, I believe the 10 biggest cities, and the amount of money that was paid out in settlements because of police brutality.
Dog. It's like in the millions, and actually
millions of dollars.
Yeah, I know. Like one, like I think it was like Chicago.
Oh,
it was like over like I think it was. I want to say it was like a 10-year period, but it was like $800 million.
It's ridiculous, man. Like I said, these officers, we always attest to the hard job that they have. Of course, they have a difficult job, but they don't have the right to brutalize people. And what this governor of New Mexico is doing here is she's just trying to make it so that if they do brutalize people, that there's no recourse. No matter if they're guilty or not guilty, there's no recourse. So you get no money.
So basically, if you're like a sociopath, or if you have a temper, or you have some issues that you want to work out, become a cop, because you can work it out on criminals or anybody
and be protected. Yeah, it's like we bought my son a one of those punching bags of air. You fill it with air or whatever like that,
and it comes back up.
Yeah. Like, that's something that you do to, relieve some stress, right?
So that thing,
I guess, as an adult,
real person. It's a real person now.
Yeah, as an adult, you can just become a cop and do whatever the hell you want to, relieve some stress. You're gonna be protected. Governors like Susana Martinez are gonna say, we're gonna do everything we can. We're gonna put forth legislation so that nobody can come after you.
Since we are already on this topic, we do have a question. It's by Vicky Online 9.8. Would you be comfortable with an autonomous android taking the place of living police officers at the street level of law enforcement? That's kind of ironic, because your name seems like your name is like Vicky Online 9.8.
Wasn't that the name of the robot in iRobot? I think it was Vicky.
That's funny. That's ironic. Are you that autonomous android?
I know, right?
Trying to get a job?
I'm pretty sure it was Vicky.
You slick. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. I think that's just some sort of. We'll be just seeking a cover up. You know what I'm saying? Like, police are necessary.
We need better human.
We need better
behavior.
human beings.
Yeah.
So we
need to demand more from people.
We know you're not an android. We just joking with you. But like, yeah. I mean, it's just like, I think that's just to provide some sort of like Band-Aid or cover up. And like, all it's gonna do is not gonna disappear. It's gonna shift somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, as people, like we allow the police to do exactly whatever they want to do, because we enable them. Like, we excuse their behavior. When it that rare occasion that it actually gets to a jury, what ends up happening? They get let off. So we enable their activity. So we need to be better. We need to hold them actually accountable. We need to demand a better police force. We need to demand better police behavior.
I just honestly, man, I think that's a start because it affects so many people, and I think we just have to fake it till we make it. And the reason why I say fake it till we make it, because to me, it's not an issue of law enforcement. It's not an issue of cops, because what are cops basically? Cops are they're basically human beings.
Basically, I mean, they are.
They are human beings.
Yeah.
When I say basically, is because, like cops don't. We've gone over this before. Stream health is whack, dog.
I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. So basically, like, cops do not have more negative traits or more positive traits than the rest of humanity. When they put on that uniform, it's not like their good traits or their bad traits magically go away, or there's not like good traits magically come in and bad traits magically go out, or vice versa.
Right.
So, like, people have this idea of police officers that's unrealistic, and you know, we talked about this before with the whole "fuck the police" kind of attitude. You know, how it's kind of like it views police a certain way simply because they have a uniform on, which essentially is wrong, because you're taking away their humanity, those human traits that they may have, simply because they have a uniform on. You're just doing it in a negative way. But I think the other side of the spectrum is what people just fail to acknowledge, that just as bad is unconditional support for the police, where you're giving undue respect simply because they have a uniform on. That's actually just as ignorant and just as narrow-minded and just as bad, and that probably contributes to this issue we're talking about right now, because people fail to see that police officers contain the same traits as the rest of humanity. So therefore, when they screw up, most likely it's because they have a disposition about certain people, they have preconceived ideas, they have certain attitudes, they have a certain belief system or ideology that will influence how they engage people, no different from the rest of us. And so as soon as people get past that, maybe they will understand police brutality and why it needs to be addressed, because it's a human problem.
Vicky said better trained police officers would be harder to assemble, but probably doable. I mean, look, we definitely need better trained police officers, no doubt. But if you don't couple that with repercussions that goes along with like bad behavior, accountability, like if you don't couple that with accountability, then we're gonna get nowhere. Like, you can do all the training in the world, but when somebody actually messes up, when they overstep their authority and actually brutalize somebody, they kill somebody, if there's no punishment, if there's no penalty whatsoever, like they just get a slap on the wrist or whatever, like they just get, even if they just get fired, they don't go to jail. I mean, if there's no accountability, then what is going to prevent anybody else, any other officer, from doing the same exact thing? That's why I said it's on people. We need to hold this industry, the law enforcement industry, accountable for their behavior. We need to demand that they do better.
So if they're not being held accountable, maybe that's telling us that there's an effort to, I guess, continue this kind of behavior. You know what I'm saying? There's an effort to see this behavior continue. If there is no accountability and there's actually no effort to hold these officers accountable, then that's telling me that they don't care. I don't know, man. I just think that like training is a good step, but I don't know how you're gonna train out some things.
You can't. That's what I'm saying.
Because it's like
you can't train that out.
Because the thing is, most of these police officers, a lot of them became police officers like when they were like 22, 23. Like, so you're gonna somehow train out all of these kind of worldly attitudes that they built up for their entire life. That's gonna just train itself out in a few months. That's not going to happen. That's
why you don't deregulate law enforcement. You put regulations in place so that they don't overstep their authority. Like when there are cameras in McDonald's, it is so that what? I mean,
to hold the workers accountable.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, you want a record of like maybe if there's a robbery or something like that, but it's also for the workers as well. Like you said, if they're doing something suspicious, if they're trying to take some money or something like that, you got it on record.
If they don't
it's for accountability.
If they don't drop them fries and the oil right,
yeah. So you can train them as best as you can. I mean, you can have a marvelous training program, but humans are humans, and humans will be humans, and so they will push the limits.
Oh, wait a second.
All the time.
Wait a second. So you're meaning to say that at jobs all across America that are not like civil servant type jobs, it's like customer service job at a hotel,
right?
Fast food worker at a fast food place like McDonald's or Burger King or Arby's, or let's say somebody who is a department manager or lead at like Kohl's or Toys R Us or the mall. Are you telling me that all the training that these particular places of employment give may or may not stick? They're not robots, and they make decisions that are against policy and procedure every day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And different employment industries. Yeah. Like I say, you can have a world-class training program, but if you don't have limitations in place, if you don't have punishments in place, then people will say, well, hold on. You mean I can get away with this? Why not?
And most places of businesses do. They have a code of conduct. And if you
That's kind of like regulations, right?
Regulations. And if you violate that code of conduct, you can get written up. And if you get written up a certain amount of time, you're gone.
Right.
And also,
so why is that
also that goes on your record. When you put, I had this job, this amount of months, that job, this amount of months. That's on your resume, and potential employers can call those past places that you were employed with and kind of ascertain how good of an employee you are. And they say, I don't know if I'm going to hire you.
Yeah, what about like handling money, man? Like what if you were responsible with taking the money to the bank? And it came up short. Came up a little bit short, man. Oh. What if it happened a couple times?
You will be getting a visit from LP. That's what's going to happen. Like, I'm talking about the next day.
There's regulations at every single job. But for some reason, in this country...
The most important job. One of the
most important jobs. You want to relieve this profession of the regulations. And that's to the detriment of this country's civilians.
Irresponsible.
Because they have the shield.
That's irresponsible, man. You can't, again, because they have the shield, but they're not RoboCops.
Man. Whatever, man. All right.
Is that the show, man?
That's the show, man.
Okay.
I'm like, man, I'm drowning.
And we actually went a little bit later because we started late. So we went the same amount of time, but we started 30 minutes late. So
my face feels numb. Straight up.
I can't feel my face.
Thank you for being here, Angie.
Thank you, Ange. Thank you, Android.
Yeah. Vicky online.
And
then it says 9.8U.
Model 9.8U. Second generation. Mary D's, World Debt, Jim.
Diesel D's.
Please. Who else up in here? Of course, Grandma. Of course, I know I seen Jenny Lynn. She came up in here late, and as soon as she came up in here, that's when the live streams health started going down.
Conspiracy. We got eyes on you. We got eyes on you, man.
Got eyes on you. Who else up in here? Jay, of course, making jokes, making my boy laugh.
Yeah. Well, I saw somebody say Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah, no, that would be being sarcastic. Yeah, I think that was Jay. I think Terror Break was in here.
Yeah, I saw Terror Break.
Ditzy Lig. I don't know. I'm not close enough to see. Who else up in here? Teresa.
Yeah, big shout out to Jeremiah donating something to the the program. Big shout out. There was somebody else too.
Yeah, Jose, gotta see y'all up on here. Sam, the veteran's daughter, what's up? Jean, Pat Spray. That just sounds weird. Somebody else did do $5. Miss Tree One, of course. Jen is up in here. If she's still here, what's up? There it is.
Yeah, Angie.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, appreciate that, Angie.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got everybody up in here. I think I named everybody. Carlos. Yeah, that's everybody. I think I named everybody. I don't want to miss anybody.
I'm just glad I didn't pass out on the show, man. Straight up. I didn't know if this was gonna be possible tonight, man.
Yo, if you did that, I would have been like, sprinkle some crack on them.
Like that.
Sprinkle some crack on them and get out of here. I'm
hoping Tuesday, man. Tuesday, I'm hoping that
dog, rest, dog. And actually,
better,
you know, like, it's one of the things you gotta be careful with, though. They say like sweating is a good thing to try to work through it, and it's not like unnatural sweat, like just sitting in the sauna. It's actually like you gotta work your respiratory system and get the blood flowing and like sweat a little bit, not to the point where you exhausted, but like to stimulate your
it kind of
metabolism.
Like you gotta sweat, but then you can't because like that might come with a fever too.
Yeah. You gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful with that. You know, that's something I never paid attention to, a fever, man, until I had kids, man. Never paid attention to a fever. Mystic Heart.
Never. I forgot Mystic Heart. I saw that late. She commented late. But those are only people who commented. So there might be some people who up in here who ain't comment. Can't call your name. But thank you for being here again for Thursday's edition of LTMB Live.
True.
Broadcast. Broke broadcast. To be specific.
Tell yourself you are healthy, Will. It works. Yeah.
Oh, you on that secret stuff?
Yeah, I know, right? Like speak it into existence.
Positive imagery. Positive imagery.
That didn't work. That wasn't working yesterday.
Like, imagine yourself healthy, and you will be healthy.
I was like, I can't move, man. Nah, yesterday was really bad, man. Really bad. But I woke up. That was, I was able to get up out of bed, do something. So. Appreciate everybody that stopped by and listened to us for a little while. We always appreciate it. And big shout out to all of our patrons as well on patreon.com. We appreciate you so much for contributing to the program. We'll be back next week,
Yes, we will.
Tuesday, hopefully in better shape with a whole new batch of stories to discuss and break down. I don't think any of them will pertain to Hillary Clinton. I don't think. Unless something
she makes it
happens
apparent.
Yeah.
It actually makes a story. It actually makes it really apparent that we really have to.
Yeah. It's just.
Unless there's some actual breaking news. If there's some actual breaking news
like
something
imminent, like actually imminent.
You best believe
that we will report
it.
Yeah.
But what we will not do is we will not entitle any of our videos based on what we want to see happen.
And we will not discuss anything that was brought to light in 2015 either. We're not going back. See, because this is the thing about driving a car, right? Like, what happens if you drive a car and you just in the rearview mirror? Like, what happens? Eventually,
you're not paying attention to stuff that's in front of you.
Eventually, you're going to crash.
But maybe you can convince yourself that there's nothing in front of you. See? What if there's no?
But see, look at this roundabout circle, man. You remember?
What if you're driving on a road that is currently being paved? There's really nothing in front of you, Will.
So I think this is one thing, because we were talking about this just a couple of days ago. Because Hillary Clinton, if she is the absolute evil, the head of the snake, right? Then she is the deep state. She's instructing Trump. She's ordering Trump. Trump is just a willing, unwilling, whatever. She's ordering Trump.
Ordering all the federal judges,
yes.
Ordering every agency, ordering every cabinet member,
so
ordering every campaign advisor.
So then you would have to say that, okay, Hillary Clinton is a Republican. Hillary Clinton is a conservative.
You would have to.
To say that, because this is all under the. I mean, this is all Hillary's plan then. So then, how far does it go back?
You have to kind of ascertain that. How far does it go back?
Man, it's just come on, man. Like I said, man, there's a lot of important things to discuss, and they all do not begin with Hillary Clinton.
If I was your boy's if I was your boy's wife, I would like write notes all around the house, or maybe even make a Facebook or a YouTube video, social media, and say, Mrs. Goodman's husband buys Mercedes-Benz for Christmas. Breaking news, imminent. That's what I do. Because obviously that's going to happen, right? Because it's imminent. So if you state something that you want to happen, it's going to happen. It's reality. Mrs. Goodman receives Mercedes for Christmas.
Speaking into existence.
Imminent. Imminent purchases for Christmas.
Yo, just, man, for everybody listening, man, just don't be quick to label somebody a shill, you know, or an establishment sellout, a DNC bootlicker. If they have some position that may seem like they're protecting the Democrats or whatever like that, that doesn't automatically mean that they are on the opposite side of you. That just means that maybe you need to educate them a little bit further. That means that we have some more work to do. We have some more work to do, man.
No, dog, no. You just said it. You just said it. Maybe we have some more work to do.
Yes.
Maybe we have some more work.
But if we call them sellouts, then how are they ever going to come over? How are they ever going to understand what we understand right now?
Because all you're going to do is push them away.
That's all you're going to do, man. Those are the same people. The progressive movement is not big enough to make any difference right now.
And see, like, during, like, I guess the meat of the 2016 election season, there were friends of ours that we got into it. I witnessed him go back and forth with a lot of people that we grew up with. And it was done in a very kind of a debate format. It wasn't
true.
Never used the word sell out, you shill. It was like, hey, these are the issues. This is the logic I'm presenting. And so I am expecting you to take what I'm saying seriously and to respond seriously and to respond with something honest, so then I can respond back and maybe present something to you that you may not have been presented with before. So that's how most of the conversations went. If we just cut people off,
you shut it down, man. You shut down all debate, all conversation, and they never come over to your side. And then they say things like, you see, that's what they do, man. They just call you names. They get up on that high horse, man. They think they're right all the time. Man, forget them, man. Forget progressives. It doesn't go anywhere, man. But we see this all the time with certain progressives. They're so willing. It's like they jump at the opportunity to label somebody not progressive, to strip them of that card and call them a sellout, man. Like, there's some people that I have no problem saying that about. Cory Booker, I don't believe he's a progressive. Hell no. He's a sellout. And I mean, like, I think there's actual proof of that.
Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, I think there's actual proof of that.
Like calling like Trump's like I guess his agenda authoritarian, while at the same time being in favor of the NSA surveillance. So yeah,
but these regular people here on social media that we converse with, like, what are they selling out for? No, I mean, like I said, they just need to be talked to. They need to see things the way that they actually are. A lot of people are in that Democratic bubble, and like they've been there for years and years and years, and they feel like this is the way we can reform it from the inside. They're definitely better than the Republican Party, so you know, let's just stay with it. It'll get better. You know, we just gotta wait. We just gotta be patient. Well, we just gotta educate them that like there's no waiting. We don't gotta wait.
Because what you're saying,
we need change now.
Essentially what you're saying is like the message is we could do it on our own. We don't need you, when actually that's not true.
There's no way we can do it on our own. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers, because who we would need are the people who don't vote. How you gonna get them? How you gonna get in front of their faces? How? Without money? Because we sure ain't getting money from the from corporations. So how are we going to get in front of their faces? This is the challenge that the Green Party faces all the time. They don't take corporate money, right? So how are you going to get in front of the faces of people that are so disillusioned with the system that they don't want to vote at all? They don't care about politics at all. You can the hell with it. Only like what 100 million people vote in this country when it comes to the presidential election.
And then there's about 100, and there's 100 million people who sit out.
Yeah,
well, at least that's like concerning this last election.
So how are you going to get to them without money?
You got to get to them with an argument first.
You try to get to them, no doubt. You try your best to get to them, but the other people you have to get to are the people that are voting for these Democrat establishment politicians.
And a lot of times, and most of the times, they don't know what like that involves. When you say establishment politics, actually, a lot of people don't even know what that involves.
Yep.
So, well,
all right.
Well,
that's it.
Sound like Steve Spurrier. Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
So I'm gonna find a bed and just go to work. Bam. Just out.
You're gonna be
done.
In the sunken place of slumber.
Just out, man. Just out. But yeah, we appreciate everybody that stayed for the show, that support us each and every day. Can't do it without you. So we will see you on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Yeah, see, you didn't know. See, we started at 7:30, but what happened was it was supposed to start at 7:30.
Y'all was supposed to read the sign.
Yeah, because I was sick.
Yeah,
I was sick, right? So that meant 30 minutes late.
Automatically. Y'all should have just known that.
Yeah,
off the top.
But on Tuesday, that's 7. It's 7 o'clock on Tuesday, so be there right on time, early 7 o'clock. And we'll be there. So,
but we do appreciate y'all for tuning in, even though we did start at 7:30. So
yeah,
y'all
came up. Y'all showed up. Came up, man. You showed up. Yeah, we appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
So we'll see you next weekend, and have a good weekend.
Yeah, peace.
Peace out. I got